You ever catch that fake smile from someone who's about to stab you in the back? That's what hit me like a gut punch. Right there in the dusty barn of my grandpa's farm in rural Illinois. The champagne from my brother's wedding was still fizzing in my veins. But the hangover wasn't from the booze, it was from overhearing my own flesh and blood plotting to sell off the only thing that ever grounded us. At 32, I'd clawed my way up as a real estate attorney specializing in farm disputes across the Midwest. But nothing prepared me for turning my skills into a weapon against my parents and sibling. My name's Emma Hayes. And this is how I saved our family's heart while shredding theirs to pieces. All because betrayal cuts deeper than any knife. The morning after Jake's over-the-top wedding, I was out on the wraparound porch of Grandpa William's old farmhouse, clutching a mug of black coffee strong enough to wake the dead. The Illinois sun was already beating down at 7 a.m., turning the 800 acres of corn and soybeans into a shimmering sea that stretched to the horizon. This land had been ours for 4 generations, every rut in the soil, every rusted fence post, every creaky outbuilding screamed history. But if my family got their way, it'd be bulldozed into subdivisions before the frost hit. I'd driven down from Chicago in my sleek SUV, feeling like an outsider among the mud-caked trucks at the church lot. The wedding had been a spectacle Jake couldn't afford on his personal trainer gig, flashy tents, open bar, the works. His new wife, Kelsey, seemed sweet, but her eyes sparkled like diamonds when Dad dropped the farm's appraisal during his toast, $1.8 million. The crowd hooped, but I saw the calculation in my parents' faces, Robert and Linda Hayes, masters of the long con. They'd bolted from this farm 2 decades ago, chasing pipe dreams that always crashed and burned, a diner that folded in months, a house flip that left them bankrupt. Some multi-level marketing scam they swore was the next big thing. They'd only crawl back when their wallets ran dry, spinning sob stories to Grandpa until he caved with a check. But last night, this wasn't begging. This was outright theft. I'd slipped out of the reception for some air, dodging Cousin Martha's matchmaking attempts, when their whispers carried on the breeze from behind the catering truck. "William's slipping," Dad said, his voice low and greasy. "Called me by Uncle Frank's name last week." Perfect timing. Jake chuckled, actually chuckled, like it was a joke. "We get him to sign before he tanks completely. The developer's offering cash. Quick close." Mom chimed in, excited. "Money by Christmas." "What about Emma?" Jake asked. Dad's tone iced over. "She ditched this dump for her fancy job. Doesn't give a damn." I froze in the shadows, nails digging into my palms until they bled. They didn't know I'd spent every break here, covering Grandpa's taxes when bills piled up. They didn't know this place was my anchor, Grandpa teaching me to read storm clouds, Grandma's kitchen where I learned to bake biscuits from scratch, the barn where I'd hide from their endless fights, finding solace in the horses' steady breaths. To them, it was a payday. To me, it was legacy sweat. Sacrifice. Something bigger than bank accounts. As the sun crested that morning, painting the fields gold, I made my vow. They wanted to game the system with shady papers? I'd show them what a real lawyer could do. My phone buzzed, a text from Sarah Jenkins, my old law school buddy and Illinois' top trusts and estate shark. "Got your voicemail." "Damn. Emma. You serious?" I fired back, dead serious. Because they missed the point. This farm wasn't just dirt and yields. It was roots. Unbreakable and deep. The screen door groaned behind me. Grandpa shuffled out in his flannel pajamas and boots, a combo that would have horrified Grandma. "Up with the roosters." "Huh. Pumpkin," he rasped, eyes still sharp as a hawk's despite the gravel in his voice. "Couldn't sleep," I said. He joined me, gazing over his empire. "They think I'm clueless," he murmured. but I overheard Em at the wedding. Robert's always been a sorry excuse for kin. My chest tightened. Grandpa, I'm not gone yet. Emma. And I'm no fool. He squeezed my shoulder with a hand gnarled from decades of toil. This land deserves better than being diced up like lottery winnings. You get that, right? Yes, sir. He turned inside, then paused. Your grandma always said you had the family's grit. Time to prove it. As his steps faded, I started dialing. They thought they had the upper hand. But I'd spent years in courtrooms where words were weapons and losses hit like freight trains. They had no clue the storm brewing. The first real awakening to what this farm meant came when I was 8, knee-deep in the south pasture, watching Grandpa mend a fence after a twister. This post, he grunted, hands steady despite the arthritis creeping in. Your great-great-grandpa said it in 23. Every time it topples, we write it. That's Hayes' blood fixing what's broke. I'd been dumped here at 6 while my parents chased big city success. Their diner bombed before I turned 7. But I stayed rooted. Grandma taught me to churn butter. Grandpa showed me soil secrets. By then, the farm had me hooked. Parents visited sporadically, always with hands out, sitting in Grandma's kitchen, weaving tales of their next venture while she quietly cut checks. Dad inherited Grandpa's stubborn streak, but none of his wisdom. He blamed the world for his flops. Mom, a former receptionist from suburban St. Louis, had soured into a bitter schemer, her dreams curdling into greed that poisoned everything. And Jake, 10 years my junior, grew up in their chaos, learning manipulation while I learned harvests. He'd never blistered his hands here, never grasped value beyond dollars. Memories surged as I roamed the house that post-wedding morning. The kitchen table where Grandma drilled math with measuring cups. The den where Grandpa and I pored over weather maps like sports fans. My high school photo still hung in the hall, the only updated grandkid pic. In his study, I unearthed the 1919 deed, edges brittle as fall leaves. Bought with great-great-grandpa's settlement after a combine mangled his arm, he poured every cent into this soil, betting on tomorrow amid today's agony. Snooping already? Dad's voice slithered from the doorway, reeking of last night's beer and smoke. Just reminiscing, I said, tucking it away. Reminiscing what? How you bolted. His laugh grated. Don't act like you care now. With your big city law gig. Leave the farm to folks who need it. Need it or flip it? His eyes narrowed. You don't know squat. I heard you last night, plotting to dupe Grandpa into signing it over. So what? He's fading. Someone's gotta decide. He's sharper than you 3 combined. He'd torch it before seeing it paved over. He loomed closer, trying intimidation that worked when I was a kid. You always played the superior card. Grandpa's pet. But you're not getting this. The rest of us deserve our cut. Cut of what? The work you skipped? The bills you dodged. He grabbed my arm. Bruising. Back off. Emma. Head back to Chicago. This is family. I stared down his grip, channeling courtroom ice. Touch me again. And I'll press assault before you say inheritance. This is family, that's why I'm staying. I wrenched free. Heart pounding but face stone. In the kitchen, Grandpa sipped coffee, smirking. Thin walls. Huh, your dad's never got this place. Thinks it's cash. He nodded to the window. Where do sparkled on cornstalks. It's about legacy. Emma. Outlasting one life. I know. Good. Promise me, don't let Em turn it into a deal. This farm's got soul, don't sell it out. I clasped his hand. I promise. Outside. Mom's shrill voice nagged Jake. They schemed in dark, I was dragging it all to light. Their biggest hurdle wasn't an old man's mule-headedness, it was my fury. Everything snapped into focus 3 days later when I caught them red-handed in Grandpa's study. I'd gone to town for supplies but looped back on foot, using old sneak-out paths from my teen years. Their voices leaked out, cocky as thieves in broad daylight. Developers upped to 2.1 mil, Jake said. Shopping center with a Whole Foods. $300K more. Mom squealed. They're hooked. This parcel's gold by the interstate. I flattened against the wall. Phone recording. Evidence was king in court. Equipment's worth $200K easy, Jake added. Auction house ready for the lot, maybe $350 total. My gut twisted. They were dissecting Grandpa's life like vultures at a carcass. Will's the snag, Mom said. Splits 3 ways, Robert. Jake. Emma. Change it, Jake shrugged. He's mixing names, called me Tommy yesterday. Tommy was an uncle lost in Nam. Grandpa used it when worn out. Not senile. But they didn't know him. Papers here. Dad rustled documents. Codicil shifts assets. Emma gets the house and 5 acres to hush her. We handle the rest for family. She'll fight, Mom warned. By then. Sold and cashed. Sue family? She barely visits. Irony burned. I'd been here monthly. Dodging them. Kelsey's cousin at the recorder's office fast-tracks filing, Jake whispered. Tell him it's tax updates. He trusts me. I'm his son. Those words hammered me, exploiting blood like a tool. Chairs scraped. I bolted to the kitchen, banging in with fake groceries. They emerged. Guilty as sin. Didn't know you were back, Mom froze. Just got strawberries for shortcake. They swapped shifty looks. Jake played casual. We were flipping old photos. Family stuff. Nice, I deadpanned. Find good ones. A few, Dad hedged. Actually. Emma. Let's chat about the farm's future. I met his gaze. Sure. We should. They split soon after. Mumbling city excuses. That evening, Grandpa and I shared shortcake on the porch as dusk fell over the fields. Crickets chirped, cows lowed faintly. They rifled my study, he said. I know. Hunting the will. He set his bowl down. Emma. I've been mulling this before the wedding whispers. This farm's alive, it needs a guardian. You see it like I do, the roots. Yes. Sarah Jenkins? Called her last week. I gaped at her card. I'm old. Not addled. Won't last forever. Help me fortify it, walls they can't breach. I gripped his hand. Yes. They smell blood like sharks. His eyes flashed cold rage. When they hit back, it'll be ugly. Let I learn from you, right what's fallen. He grinned. Fierce. That's my girl. Now. Spill what you overheard today, every ugly detail. As I recounted, his face turned to stone. 2.1 mil? They'd hawk generations for that. We'll crush them. No, we destroy them. Sarah arrived at dawn 2 days later. Power-suited against the corn backdrop. Eyes like lasers. Emma Hayes. You weren't kidding, your own kin. My own. In the kitchen. She morphed into a legal beast over Grandpa's spread papers. Mr. Hayes. Date? June 15th. 2024. Corn's knee-high. Soybeans thriving despite drought. She nodded. Impressed. He detailed assets flawlessly, rights, easements, contracts. Irrevocable trust, she proposed. Whitaker Farm Conservation Trust keeps it agricultural forever. Tax perks. They can't break it? Once filed. Ironclad. Who runs it? Board, Emma primary. Me secondary. Third from AG community. Tom Reynolds. Neighbor. Perfect. Modest income for kin. No control. How fast? Drawn Monday. Filed Wednesday. Plus revoke old powers. Do it, Grandpa commanded. We moved like clockwork. Neurologist cleared him sharp, signing witnessed by Tom. Pastor. Banker videoed all. Grandpa declared to camera, William Hayes. Sound mind. Entrust this land to preserve it since 1919. No malls. No lots, farmland as intended. I added cams. Changed locks. Box docks. Dug into the developer, Prosperity Land. Known for squeezing families into bankruptcy, then snatching cheap predators, I told Grandpa. Fitzrobert. The call hit that night, Dad. Furious. What did you do? Estate planning routine. You locked us out. Protected the future. Manipulative, neurologist disagrees. Want video? Click. Grandpa chuckled. Poker face. Pumpkin. They'll storm here. We stand our ground. They charged in Tuesday. 2 cars like a raid. Dad's leased sedan led. Followed by a slick BMW budget lawyer. I met them on the porch with Grandpa and Sarah. This trust's invalid, their suit barked. Richard Hoffman. Undue influence. Incapacity. Prove it, Sarah shot. Dad shoved papers. Dissolve it or we sue. Grandpa stepped forward. Heard your wedding plot, tricking me. Fast-tracking. Mom blanched. You heard. Ears work fine. My son's scheming to rob me. Hoffman fidgeted. I held my phone. Sheriff's on dial, trespass. They retreated. Ethan glaring venom. Mom hissed. Not over. It is, Grandpa said. Don't return. Linda. Ever. Dad lingered. Deflated. Why? Drowning? Failed everything? Destroying this for a win. We're rich in ways you ignored, continuity. Permanence. You pick her over me. I pick legacy over greed. Dad eyed me hollowly. You won this. But not done. You'll lose and pay fees. He drove off. Broken. Grandpa sank down. Aged. Disinherited my boy. Protected from him. That night. Sarah texted, petition filed. Expedited. We prep tomorrow. The hearing dawned stormy. Air thick with omen. They packed the courthouse, parents. Jake. Kelsey. Her folks. 2 lawyers now, Hoffman and Carolyn Vance. Trustbuster from Chicago. Concerned. I asked Sarah. Facts win. Judge Elena Ramirez presided. No nonsense vet. Vance opened. Dissolution for influence. Incapacity, clients robbed by manipulation. Sarah countered, legal. Ethical. Intended. Vance assassinated my character. City shark abandoning roots. Preying on Grandpa. Dad testified tearfully, Dad's declining. Emma exploited. Lies about visits. Help. Jake. Promised family keep, now locked. Mom twisted teen stories. Kelsey's parents admitted inheritance lured the marriage. Their expert. Dr. Elias Grant. Spouted elder abuse patterns without exam. Our turn. Tom testified Grandpa's acuity. Dad's shady past. Pastor. Banker corroborated. Neurologist. Exceptional cognition. Grandpa took stand. Suit from Grandma's funeral. Created trust, 'cause I heard M plot at wedding sell for malls. Vance cross-examined. Failing to trip him. Unfair to son? Unfair he planned robbery. This is justice. Recess dragged. Ramirez ruled, no incapacity. No influence. Trust stands. Bad faith award fees. Gavel down. They froze. Scheme shattered. Dad raged, you wrecked us. You did. As they left. Jake, never forgive. Ditto. Grandpa home. Pumpkin. Rain cleansed as we drove, blessing. 3 weeks post-win. Harassment started, dead critters at gates. Sabotage tractors. Bogus complaints. Petty. Then worse. In Chicago. Tom called, they're cornering William. I sped back. Bursting and recording. Medicare signature, Dad cooed, quitclaims really. Step off, I commanded. Fraud. Recorded live. Hoffman bolted. Mom spat. Thief. Grandpa thundered. You deserve zilch disappointments. Parasites. They fled. Dad threatening. Grandpa revealed cams caught all. Suspected. Sarah. Fraud charges. Warn M. Approach again. Prosecute. They agreed via Vance. No contact. Anticlimax. But peace. Mom sent a photo, me at 5. Laughing with Grandpa. Back, always his fave. Earned it. Not sorry. But real. Grandpa's letter post passing. Farm's yours spiritually. Protect it, backbone and heart. Find love too. I help others now. Preserving farms. Ethan called once. Understand now what we wrecked. Farm thrives. Solar. Organics. Young helpers. Sunrises remind. Roots make family. They never saw my love outmatch their greed. Work calls blessing. Not burden.